Imagine you're in charge of feeding over 1,000 people, knights, nobles, servants, all living inside a massive medieval castle. There are no fridges, no freezers, not even ice boxes. And yet somehow these stone fortresses kept food fresh for months, sometimes even years. Sounds impossible today, right? But medieval castle kitchens mastered food preservation using techniques so advanced they still impress us today. It all started underground. Castle builders dug deep into the earth, creating sprawling cellars that stayed around 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius all year. The deeper you went, the cooler it got. These weren't just storage rooms. They were precision-engineered food labs. The coldest depths held fresh meat and dairy. A few levels up, wine and ale. The upper shelves stored root veggies, apples, and dried goods. These cellars were so complex that servants sometimes got lost. One in Dover Castle disappeared for 2 days, only to be found snoozing next to a wine barrel. His excuse? The wine kept me warm. He even kept his job. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Rats were a constant problem. One record mentions an entire winter's cheese supply wiped out by a rat invasion. And when cellars flooded, they didn't become coolers. They became pools. To combat spoilage, castles turned to their secret weapon: salt. This wasn't just seasoning, it was survival. In fact, our modern words like salary and the phrase "worth your salt" come from a time when salt was as valuable as gold. Castles used up to 5,000 pounds of it each year. There was even a job called the salt master. Fine salt was used for dairy and delicate meats. Coarse salt? That went on tougher cuts and fish. Salt merchants became medieval tycoons. Some even ran fleets of ships. But where there's profit, there's fraud. People sold fake salt made of ground white stones. Salt and battery, medieval style. Smoking was another powerful method. Castles had smoking yards processing up to 200 pounds of meat a day during peak season. These areas were outside the walls, close enough to guard, far enough to avoid fires. To survive winter, a castle needed around 18,000 pounds of smoked meat. Each wood had a job: oak for general meats, apple wood for luxury dishes like wild boar, and alder for fish. Smoking was serious work. Hams took months to cure, and smokehouses ran 24/7 in autumn. The smoke master? A BBQ pit boss before the term existed. Vegetables got pickled on an industrial scale. Archaeologists have found pickling vessels holding over 100 gallons. That's 800 pounds of vegetables in one go. Castles pickled up to 60% of their yearly harvest. It wasn't just cucumbers. They pickled cabbage, turnips, eggs, and beet juice, and even lemons and oranges. Then there was honey, possibly the most amazing preservative of all. Archaeologists have found honey still edible after thousands of years. Medieval castles had massive bee yards, about a quarter mile from the walls, carefully placed near flower-rich fields. Honey was used to coat fruits, layer root veggies, and even pack fish for long trips. One recipe details how to preserve an entire goose in honey. Even the castle's architecture played a role. Builders designed ventilation shafts that naturally cooled rooms. Grain silos held 20,000 pounds. Cheese caves were angled to drain whey. Builders even added pest barriers: ledges mice couldn't climb, herbs in the mortar, and narrow tunnels just for cats to patrol. Running all this took a small army. The head cook managed up to 50 staff. About 15 specialized in preservation alone. The preservation master earned the value of 30 sheep per year. Apprentices started around age 12. Before they cooked a single dish, they spent 2 years learning how to spot spoiled food, rotate stocks, and guard the winter supplies from over-eager nobles. Preservation followed a strict calendar. Spring was cleanup, pickling and smoking whatever was left from winter. Summer? Drying herbs and processing produce. Autumn was the big push. Everybody joined in. Winter required precision. One slip-up and March meant starvation. In times of crisis, like the 1216 siege of Dover Castle, their preservation systems were put to the test. When the cellar flooded, the staff moved all supplies overnight. When rats chewed through grain bags, they switched to sealed clay pots. Many of these ancient preservation methods are still used today. The smoky ham you love? Think a medieval smoke master, that artisan pickle, straight out of a castle cellar. Even your grandma's preservation hacks may trace back centuries. Food preservation wasn't just about survival. It was about ingenuity, flavor, and community. In medieval castles, they mastered it all.